I want to commend Prime Minister Carney for committing to meet NATO's defense spending target of 5% of GDP by 2035. And I want to let everyone here know that Ontario is ready to do their part.
Ontario Premier Doug Ford was in Ottawa today to unveil a new industrial defense strategy. His government's goal is to create 43,000 new jobs and add $6 billion to the provincial economy over the next 10 years. Also, there was Ontario Economic Development, Job Creation and Trade Minister Vic Fedeli at this event today in Ottawa, and he joins me now. Vic Fedeli, good to see you, sir. Good to have you here in person.
Great to see you, David. Thank you for having me on today.
Big numbers, big targets, 43,000 jobs, $6 billion to the economy. I think you've got about 13,000 working in the defense sector right now in Ontario. How do you quadruple that?
Well, you hustle, just what we're doing. We announced to the world our defense industrial strategy. That's important to begin with. And then we start by developing the 300 defense companies we have in Ontario, shoring them up, making sure they're aware of the programs that we have to help them and our attention to this file. And we head out to the world where we have 15 offices, and we have our trade offices really spool up on defense and look for other companies to bring them in. We make sure we talk to our educators so that we're teaching the next generation exactly what we need to have them learn. We talk to the municipalities about getting ready for defense companies to come in. All of these come together to make a big push to double up our defense.
You've put together, bundled together this defense strategy, and I don't say this to be pejorative, but a lot of it is things you were already doing, sort of bundled, I guess, to show this sector what is available to them in terms of support and opportunities here in Ontario. Have you seen any uptake on that? Because a lot of the defense spending that's been announced right now by the government is very much in the infancy stages. The execution and the drive of it hasn't quite hit the traction level yet.
I would say yes. We've had a lot of interest, not only from Ontario companies, but from companies that are all around the world. You know, we had missions to 20 different countries last year, and somewhere in the defense sector. We had very, very strong success from those, and we're probably going to hit 25 to 30 countries this year. As I was saying earlier, 9 just in the month of June alone. So we've had very good uptake, and we expect to make that 43,000 jobs.
Well, if you're going to try to bring companies here and convince other companies domestically to expand and invest capital in this to take advantage of these opportunities, the country needs to be able to deliver the workforce, right? And there is a shortage in the skilled trades. Immigration numbers have been reined back after the big post-COVID influx that led to a lot of cost pressures. So to quadruple people working in the defense sector, to double the rate of home building in Canada, to roll out a defense industrial, to do the major projects, to do the small projects, to do the Ring of Fire, to do the pipeline, where is Canada going to get all of these people if we're not going to reopen immigration? Because we can't train them at that scale.
Well, we'll continue to grow in Ontario. Most of the immigration ends up in Ontario, so we have that advantage. Some years when there were a couple of million, it was a disadvantage as we just were swamped. Now that we will have I would call it the right size amount coming in, we've just got to make sure that our colleges and our universities are training in the programs where people are going to be hired, training in AI, training in skilled labor. The skilled trades. All of these, we have programs that are ready to assist. You know, we added 17,000 AI workers just last year. I think there's 1,700 AI masters enrolled this year, 1,400 graduated last year. So we are preparing the young men and women for the future, and I think we're preparing them properly.
I mean, obviously, the number one goal is to see the Canadian auto sector preserved as it is and strengthen and maybe even grow and expand. But there have been job losses there. There have been job losses in steel, right, because of what's happening with the United States. Do you see transfer potential for people who are maybe displaced in that particular sector to find employment in the growth of the defense sector?
Well, we want 43,000 people to end up in the defense sector over the next 10 years. So that's a totally achievable goal. In the auto sector, we've also seen the other side of the coin. Stellantis put a third shift on this year for the very first time since 2020. General Motors just invested $691 million in St. Catharines to grow the engine plant. Ford will be opening this fall with a multi-billion-dollar investment in the F-250 and above series. We are still seeing growth there, but there's hiccups along the way. Don't get me wrong. I mean, there have been some hiccups as Liberation Day in the United States a year ago, January, really caused a lot of turmoil worldwide, put a real chill on business. David, when I travel around the world, which is almost every month, we hear the same message no matter what country, no matter what company. With all of the turmoil in the world, Russia's war in Ukraine, the war in the Middle East, China's big mitt over the supply chain throughout the world. We see companies, they say to us, you look across the ocean and there's this bright light. It's like a beacon of hope. When they want a North American beachhead, they come to Ontario. And that's the success that we're seeing.
Right, but there are still these challenges with the United States. And, you know, we talked to Dominic LeBlanc, and it is hard to know with certainty where the talks are going. And I think that may be true for the Canadian negotiators, given the nature of the American administration. But, you know, Premier Doug Ford was asked today about the upcoming trade talks or the ongoing trade talks between the U.S. and Mexico, and with Canada sort of being left out. I just want to play a clip of what he had to say and get your thoughts on this on the other side. Here's Premier Ford.
Well, I'm concerned. In my opinion, we need to get to the table. We need to make sure we have certainty, not just here, but in the United States. I'd like to get to the table or get the feds to the table, and let's start moving on this. We can't keep delaying.
What are your thoughts on that? I mean, it's hard to know. It seems like the delay is on the American side. Canada wants to move on things, but I don't know. What has the impact been of this delay on the Ontario economy, on the Canadian economy, in your view?
It's been twofold. The really good news is we're seeing more and more American companies looking to Ontario to locate here because of the uncertainty in the U.S. and the unpredictability. I mean, who here doesn't wake up in the morning, take your iPhone and sort of one eye half cocked open, look at the phone and say, what new hell have we had today? Last week it was mushrooms. Where did these things come from? So we're seeing the Americans really having a genuine interest here. Last year alone, we had 750 new companies in Ontario bring $35 billion in investment and hire 64,000 people. So we're seeing that success. Our trade, our exports to outside of the U.S. were up 75% in the last 8 years. We really are beginning to trade around the world.
But, you know, as a final point, Minister Pete Hoekstra, the U.S. ambassador, he raised it again, the alcohol ban. The LCBO, the biggest bulk buyer of alcohol in the world, not on the shelves. They're feeling it, especially in states like Kentucky and Tennessee, which politically matter to that government. Yeah. He said it suggests an attitude on the part of the premiers in the provinces, Premier Ford in particular, that maybe they don't want to do business with the United States, and suggests that you lift this ban, promising nothing in return. But just what is your response to the notion that this says something about how you view the U.S. as a business partner? Well,
you lift the ban and you get nothing in return. It's our bargaining chip. What the ambassador would like is to have a clean slate, not have any issues against them, only 50% tariffs on our steel, our aluminum, our lumber, our copper. That's what they would like, is to have all one way. No. We're not going to give up our bargaining chip. But how important we are the United States' third largest trading partner. It's China, Mexico, Ontario, Canada. Ontario is their third largest trading partner. We are the single largest customer for 15 of their states and the second largest customer.
Removing Canada from the list probably moves you up a number there, though, does it not, Minister? I mean, the entire country has a slightly larger.
Yeah, but Ontario alone is $500 billion a year. This is just Ontario, is right behind Mexico in trade.
So just are you optimistic that things can get resolved, throughout the summer, or does this feel like this is just going to be the new normal with this administration?
Well, it can't be the new normal. I'm very optimistic. Things have to happen. I'm a continued optimist.
Right.
We need things to get back to business. The Americans need us. I think they're really seeing that. The states that aren't shipping us $1 billion a year in alcohol, they're feeling that pinch for sure. We need things to get back.
Ontario Economic Development Minister Vic Fedeli, you've probably got a plane to catch it somewhere else in the world. Thanks for taking some time with us today. Appreciate it, sir.
Thank you.